Hello, everybody. Welcome to a class for this week. And we're just doing a recording class before our last live class here. And just finishing up the sort of course we put together here on Buddhist ethics. So in particular, exploring the Pratimoksha or freedom vows and the Bodhisattva vows. So we've gone through there, a bunch of classes on this together. We're just going to do the last one here. Presenting the secondary downfalls of the Bodhisattva vows. And again, this is just a preliminary introduction. Again and again and again, we have to return and study these and make them a daily practice in our lives. Okay, starting with the Heart Sutra here. Homage to perfection, wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Yes, I've heard it. One time, the Blessed One was swelling in Rajgir and Mass Vulture's Mountain together, the great assembly of monks, great assembly of Bodhisattvas. That time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. That time, also, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, is looking perfectly the practice of profound perfection wisdom, looking perfectly also the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of Buddha, Venerable Sariputta said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a son of the lineage trained in which is engaged in the practice of profound perfection wisdom? Thus he spoke. Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly, also the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is none other than form, and form is also none other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics. They're not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so forth, up to no mentality element, also up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there's no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there's no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in the three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest complete Buddhas in a state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection, wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal and unequal mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection, wisdom is proclaimed, Tayantam gata gata paragata parasamgati bodhisoha. Shariputra, Bodhisattva, great beings should train the profound perfection wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration, said to Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being that had spoken well. Good, O son, just like that. Since it's like that, just as you've revealed, that way the profound perfection wisdom should be practiced, and Tathagatas will also rejoice. And the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, the entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed. Okay, so we can just start here with our brief meditation. We'll just feel that we're in a wide open space here. Ground lapis like lapis lazuli, easy to sit on, and the sky above us, a beautiful cloudless sunny blue sky here. In ourselves, we're surrounded by all sentient beings of the six realms of cyclic existence. We can feel that the people closest to us in life are the closest to our bodies here, and it sort of goes out towards all the beings that we don't know or have personal contact with, sort of out in concentric circles. So our mother on our left, our father on our right, the people we love the most behind us as support, the people we like the least, have issues with in front of us as objects of compassion and healing. Okay, moving up from there, humans from all over the world, all different backgrounds and countries and cultures. Countless animal beings, just from the animal realm, just small little microbes, insects. We can even include, plants and all kinds of animals, just our whole natural ecosystem here. In particular, of course, the beings that are real sentient beings, the animal life forms, whether it be insects or big mammals. In other words, not wanting to suffer and wanting to be happy. But we also feel that our practice is blessing the natural environment like trees and plants and so forth as well. Now, similar vein, the spirit world, all the different astral, ether, elemental realms, all the different spirit beings from them are here with us as well. And Bardo beings all in the intermediate states of the 6 realms. And then celestial beings, demigods and gods. And finally, beings in lower states of rebirth, vast numbers of hungry ghosts and hell beings here with us. You can just feel in the sky above us. Here is the synthesis of the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and all holy beings, all light beings, Buddha Shakyamuni, just like a beautiful sun in the sky here in the summer sky. The golden energy body, Buddha Shakyamuni is how we usually see him, wearing 3 robes of a monk, and in lotus position, golden color, and he's got a begging bowl of medicinal nectar in his left hand. Right hand is touching the earth in the subduing mudra. Feel that at his heart, it's a beautiful sun in the sky, is his more divine sort of Sambhogakara angelic form, divine couple, Vajradhara and Vajradhati Vishvari. They have beautiful sapphire blue bodies in sexual embrace, wearing crowns, and she's straddling him with her arms around his neck. And he's in Vajra position, and he holds a bell in his left hand, Dorje in his right. Her silks and beautiful jewelry. She has a Tsongkhapa and medicinal nectar in her left and curved chopper knife in her right. And between them is the Hum letter, H-U-M, or Hum in the Tibetan script, Sanskrit script, representing Dharmakaya, or wisdom truth body, Buddha's, or the enlightened mind of the Buddhas. Now all of us, all sentient beings, taking refuge. I and all sentient beings, till we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, and Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, and Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. So just feel that we're now generating proper refuge in the 3 jewels as a source of our happiness, a way to avoid suffering. And generating bodhicitta here, just our intention today in our practice is everything we do is put towards the enlightenment of all sentient beings, the liberation of all beings. Chanting the 4 measurables of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. May everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. May everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. May everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. Okay, 7 limb practice, prostrations, offering, confession, rejoicing, asking all holy beings to stay, to teach, and dedication. So prostrate with our body, speech, and mind here, showing respect to Buddha Shakyamuni and all holy beings as our highest good, source of all goodness and peace in the world, by allowing us to find the same state. Opening our hearts in generosity and giving. And just feel that we just give out billions of flowers, beautiful objects to Buddha Shakyamuni here in the sky. As I always like visualize radiating out a plain of beautiful flowers here. Confessing, declaring, or owning all of our negativity, character faults, downfalls, and so forth. And sort of standing up and being accountable for them, telling us, all sentient beings around us, and Buddha Shakyamuni and the holy beings, that we're going to try harder and be better and just self-perfect. And then rejoicing in all the goodness, our own sort of spiritual progress here, and all the virtues of all holy beings and sentient beings. So just look the Buddhas as an example and ideal that we're trying to emulate here and sort of progress towards. And also just having, again, just a real appreciation, gratitude for our own progress and progress of others, all the goodness and virtue we see around us in daily life of other people. Again, asking Buddha Shakyamuni and all holy beings to stay and to teach. So always be in our lives as a presence, and most of all as a guide, to always teach us the Dharma, guide us in a personal, practical way along the path of enlightenment. So I feel we just sort of send up a white lion throne here as a seat in our lives, sort of a throne in our life. Please be present, please be with us. And an 8-spoke golden Dharma chakra here we send up, just as being a presence, teach us, guide us, be an example, bless us. And now dedicate all of our virtue, all the good energy here, even what we're doing together here, for the awakening of all sentient beings. May I become Buddha for all my effort, that once I am enlightened, I lead all sentient beings to the same state. And finally, offering up a beautiful purified universe for the awakening of all sentient beings here, Mandala. So we can even do Vedic style, where Mount Meru, the 4 continents, 8 subcontinents, all beautiful Chakravartin rulers, possessions, and all beautiful things. So to offer this to Buddha Shakyamuni and all holy beings. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land, and offer thus, and all beings become, enjoy these pure lands. So again, repeating the ground sprinkled with perfume, spread with flowers. Just visualize that here. Great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon. So again, it's the 4 continents, beautiful. Even the sun and the moon on top of Mount Meru, the center of the universe here, all the stars and galaxies and so forth. Seen as a Buddha land, and for that, so making everything pure, as a pure realm, no suffering, just only purity and goodness, and bliss and joy. May all beings enjoy such purity. May all sentient beings sort of experience this purity and happiness and no sufferings in samsara. Om Enam Guru Radha Valaka Mirtiyon. Me send forth this jewel mantle of you, precious gurus. Now, having done this, we can visualize that from Buddha Shakyamuni, beautiful golden light and energy from the Hum letter at the heart between Vajradhara and Vajradhara come down into us like sunlight, big beams of sunlight. And again, powering us up like in a video game or your cell phone, you plug it in, and the little percentage goes up for your battery. It's the same thing. We're low energy, and so we're reactive and negative and selfish. and more sort of cloistered and sort of closed in and brittle and hard like a crab. And all this sunlight, we're just sort of opening up like a flower in the sun here, connecting with life, with energy, becoming powerful and creative and good and open and virtuous, and wanting to see the best in ourselves and others. Okay, please, Buddha Shakyamuni, grant us your blessings of body, speech, and mind. So we now do the dissolution. We just feel that Buddha Shakyamuni gets very, very small, starts dissolving inward there, almost like a little light going away, just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, dissolving into his heart. And just feel that now it's just the divine couple, Vajradhara and Vajradhatu, which fire in the sky like a beautiful blue diamond or sapphire or piece of lapis, sending that beautiful blue energy. And again, they are the condensation, the synthesis of the three jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and all the enlightened powers, qualities, and virtues of the Buddhas. You just feel that all the wisdom, compassion, power of all holy beings is invested in them. So they're going to come and sort of bestow this blessing upon us. So we just feel they come down to the crown of our head now. They float over, turn around, their face in the same direction as us. And they enter our crown chakra, very, very small, just like a little size of a sunflower seed or so. And slowly proceed down like a falling leaf here, very gently in front of our spine. Into our heart. And once they're in their heart, they just dissolve, becoming one with us. In like a glass of water poured into another, or I would say like a sugar cube melting into hot water. Disappear and just feel that all that enlightened power and compassion and wisdom goes directly into us. And we can just feel energized here, but most of all, feeling a sense of spaciousness, peace, bliss, and joy. And just sit with this energy here for a moment. Okay, so just coming to meditation now. Just feel the blessings and energy of all holy beings that's in us here, just helping us throughout the day, inspiring us, giving us, as Rinpoche says, waves of inspiring swing or Jinlat blessing, mind transformation or empowerment. Okay, so the secondary downfalls for our Bodhisattva vows, what are they? So I just have from my notes here. So we talked about that, with the root downfalls, they're a lot more serious. And of course, like I say, that's like when you have your root downfall and break your vows that way, that's like breaking your teacup. Where the secondary downfalls is sort of more minor transgressions, but they are cracking the teacup, or it's a crack in the windshield. We have to replace windshield on our Subaru from me driving all the time to get to the coast to work. You get that, the pebble from the 18-wheeler, big logging truck, bang, hits your windshield, and you get a little chip or a little crack and starts going, and then you leave it, starts spidering up before you know it, the whole windshield's gone, right? So it's the same thing here, that we have to always keep up and do the work on our secondary downfalls, because if we start breaking them and getting all these cracks, and it can start to snowball, and before you know it, they sort of can morph into or cause you energetically. You kind of build a momentum of negative energy, and you can create a root downfall of your bodhisattva vows. Then you've broken your bodhisattva vows, and as we've seen, it requires a bunch of factors to really break one, but they're harder to restore. The bodhisattva vows, the root downfalls are harder to fix once you've broken. So the key is, when you get in these cracks, we're going to be patching them up with sort of super glue or duct tape or whatever, like restoring them. There's that beautiful form of Japanese pottery where they put gold in the cracks of a cup or a bowl, and so it makes it really, really pretty. And so we can do the same thing here with our secondary downfalls of bodhisattva vows. So it says here that you can restore them once you've broken them by confessing them to another person. So just making, this is the whole idea of ethics being always including other people, but Buddhist ethics being no different, that I have to be accountable, give an account, present myself, stand up, answer to my teachers and to the Sangha and to the community of sentient beings at large. This is what I'm, my behavior, I'm showing that it is having an impact, not just myself or other people. So other people, other beings are involved. So as a practice, I'm involving them. So you can see that even by confessing or having the medicine to the problem of my selfishness, self-cherishing, and more sort of violence and transgressions on other people's lives, other beings' lives, the restoring them involves other people as well. So you can see that just by confessing and making it public, being accountable, this already starts to restore the energy of my bodhisattva vow. When you think about it, bodhisattva vows, the bodhisattva vow itself is the idea of making your liberation or salvation a public thing that you're doing with and on behalf of other people. It's sort of a collective effort, enlightenment. Your other people are helping you get enlightened. Once you get enlightened, your whole purpose at that point is help them get enlightened, and so on and so on. Okay, so again, you can restore them if they're broken, these secondary downfalls, by confessing them to another person. So again, you can break them in an afflictive or non-afflictive way. So in other words, you can have them with breaking these, just like root downfalls here, with a strong mental affliction or klesha, being really, really angry, ignorant, or attached, or breaking them again out of forgetfulness or laziness, not knowing that you have these vows, not really caring too much, being lazy, being a little cynical or apathetic or whatever, and then you can break them. So we have to, as with all ethics, be mindful and make them a practice here. So what are they? What's interesting is when you break them down, they're actually all of the secondary downfalls here, all 46 of them. They're in groups, 6 groups with for each of the 6. In other words, they're downfalls against each of the 6 paramitas or perfections of a bodhisattva. These being, of course, when you study LamRim in the Great Scope, the 6 paramitas, the 6 sort of group actions that help you create the merit and purify the negativities. to become a real Bodhisattva, to reach enlightenment, to end up reaching enlightenment with bodhicitta, becoming an Arya Bodhisattva. So these paramitas are, of course, paramita of giving, of patience, of moral discipline, of joyous effort, mental stabilization, concentration, and wisdom realizing emptiness. So those are the 6 practices and 6 commitments, and the whole world basically of a bodhisattva is manifested through those 6 paramitas or 6 perfections. And those virtues are perfections because they're being done with bodhicitta. So the 46 downfalls of the bodhisattva vows are downfalls against these 6 paramitas, okay? So the first, well, I'll just read all of them first of all, and then we'll break them down. So secondary downfalls of the bodhisattva vows. 1, not making offerings of the 3 jewels every day. 2, indulging in worldly pleasures out of attachment. 3, being disrespectful to those who received the bodhisattva vows before us. 4, not replying to others. 5, not accepting invitations. 6, not accepting gifts. 7, not giving dharma to those who desire it. 8, forsaking those who have broken their moral discipline. 9, not acting in ways that cause others to generate faith. 10, doing little to benefit others. 11, not believing that bodhisattva's compassion ensures that all their actions are pure. 12, acquiring wealth or fame through wrong livelihood. 13, indulging in frivolity. 14, claiming that bodhisattvas need not abandon samsara. 15, not avoiding a bad reputation. 16, not helping others to avoid negativity. 17, retaliating to harm or abuse. 18, not apologizing when we have the opportunity. 19, not accepting others' apologies. 20, making no effort to control our anger. 21, gathering a circle of followers or students out of a desire for profit or for respect. 22, not trying to overcome laziness. 23, indulging in senseless conversation out of attachment. 24, neglecting to retrain in mental stabilization and concentration. 25, not overcoming obstacles to mental stabilization and concentration. 26, being preoccupied with the taste of mental stabilization and concentration, in other words, the bliss of meditation. 27, abandoning the Hinayana. 28, studying the Hinayana to the detriment of our Mahayana practice. 29, studying non-Dharma subjects without a good reason. 30, becoming engrossed in non-Dharma subjects for their own sake. 31, criticizing other Mahayana traditions. 32, praising ourselves and scorning others. 33, making no effort to study Dharma. 34, preferring to rely upon books rather than our own spiritual guide. 35, not going to the assistance of those in need. 36, neglecting to take care of the sick. 37, not acting to dispel suffering. 38, not helping others to overcome their bad habits. 39, not returning help to those who have benefited us. 40, we're not relieving the distress of others. 41, not giving to those who seek charity. 42, not taking special care of disciples. 43, not acting in accordance with the inclination of others. 44, not praising the good qualities of others. 45, not doing wrathful actions when appropriate. And 46, not using miracle powers, threatening actions, and so forth, in other words, when necessary. So the first 7 here that I've listed, from not making offerings of the 3 jewels every day up to not giving dharma to those who desire it, are transgressions against the paramita of giving, perfection of giving. So number 1 here is not making offerings 3 jewels every day. Have allowing, no, actually that's number 2. So not making offerings of 3 jewels every day. So again, even mental offerings, even offering a sunset or beautiful things, just thinking, making offerings all the time. I mean, if you've got a daily practice or commitments, you're doing that already. But if you don't, at least to sort of dedicate your food and your drink when you do that or so forth. Not having, you won't be able to generate, obviously, the paramita of generosity if you never give anything to 3 jewels anytime at all, right? Number 2, indulging worldly pleasures out of attachment here is to allow proper thoughts to go on and on. So thoughts of desire, for instance, then it's sort of, so basically, yeah. So anyway, anytime you just let it rip and just get super judgmental, super ignorant, super attached, super angry, they say that right here, any effort to prevent this prevents you from breaking the vow. So even catching yourself, you don't break the vow. This is just like, you're just going to basically slide down the hill with this and just go on and on and on and on, getting angry on and on and on, like, soap opera in your head, going over being angry at someone, or just like totally letting it rip with thoughts of attachment or so forth, and making no effort, having no shame, no conscience with it whatsoever. If you do that, obviously, it's a secondary downfall. And this, if you let it go on and on, it can, again, sort of morph into something, transmogrify into something that'll threaten a root downfall of your bodhisattva vows. Okay, so it says here, desire, if it becomes excessive, then you'll do something wrong to fulfill it. Of course, any of these delusions get out of hand. Number 3, and obviously not respecting elders, anyone who's taken vows before you did. So anyone who's taken any kind of vow, especially the bodhisattva vows, these are beings that are on the Buddhist path, just like even treating monks and nuns, ordained people, or lay practitioners like nakmas, nagmas, and so forth, tantric practitioners. You have to treat them with respect. These are budding, or sort of like the royal court, becoming the king and the queen, so forth. These are beings on their way to enlightenment, taking vows. So they're special people. So we have to show respect to them. We can't just treat them like anyone else and treat them obviously poorly. Not replying to others, so not answering questions if someone's asking. So the exceptions here would be if you're sick, asleep, groggy, you're teaching or doing something, and this would be an interruption of it, and so forth. So this is just if you don't get back to, if someone's genuinely asking questions or asking for help, and you just completely block them out. Again, if you're bodhisattva, you have to be open to helping and caring for others. Number 5, not accepting invitations. And this is obviously not accepting a sincere invitation. Of course, an exception would be if you're sick, having accepted another invitation at the same time. In other words, you've double booked. It's too dangerous to go, invited out of bad motives, or diverts you from virtue. Obviously, if it's an invitation to do something bad or something negative, breaking your vows, you can't go. If it's too dangerous to go, or if the intention's bad, the intention's to try and make you do something bad or break your own vows or be cynical about it, then this you wouldn't break the vow by refusing that. But if it's a sincere thing, it's like, whatever, like family reunion, we want you to come, we love you, you should be coming and seeing all your relatives over. Nah, I just can't be bothered, or something. The idea is that as a bodhisattva, anytime there's invitation to a group of people, you can be of help and you can care for people and you can help them with the Dharma in some kind of indirect way or direct way. Not accepting gifts, same thing, just refusing a sincerely kind gesture or gift, and just out of your ego, you don't accept it. That would be just a secondary downfall. The exception, of course, is that you would get attached to it. That's a problem. For instance, that it's stolen, the giver will later regret the action, and so forth. So there's exceptions. I mean, we talked about this with the root downfall one as well. Okay, and not giving to those who desire it. Of course, we same thing. If someone's sincerely asking for Dharma and just for 8 worldly Dharmas reasons, or selfishness or laziness, or because you've got sort of a mean, malicious mind at that point, you refuse to give them Dharma, then that's considered a really downfall. So the next finder, against the perfection of moral discipline. So that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be, I guess, so for instance, into retaliating, harm, or abuse, and forsaking those who have broken moral discipline from that. So forsaking those who have broken their moral discipline, not acting ways that cause others to generate faith, doing little to benefit others, not believing bodhisattva's compassion ensures all their actions are pure, acquiring wealth or fame through long livelihood, indulging frivolity, claiming that bodhisattvas need not abandon samsara, not avoiding a bad reputation, not helping others avoid negativity, retaliating to harm or abuse. For instance, not reaching out to those who have broken vows or bad deeds. So in other words, anyone who's broken vows, maybe quit the Dharma, having a hard time, they said forsaking them, feeling that they're infidels at that point, or heretics, or fallen souls, fallen angels, or so forth. and that, not only are you going to super disrespect them and judge them and so forth, but you have nothing to do with them. The idea is that people like this need your help the most, need your support. So, within reason that we do it, you don't want to, if they're having a hard time and sort of rejecting the Dharma, you don't want to chase after them, try and force the Dharma on them. If they're very cynical or very negative about it, you don't want that to poison your mind. But if sincerely, you can reach out to people that are having problems and see if there's any way that you can help them. Oftentimes, people come back to their practice. But if you make them feel that they're big losers or failures, they won't. So then, in a lot of ways, by you reacting that way, you're preventing them of sort of moving forward on their path. Non-acting ways that generate faith in other people. Of course, just your own behavior, smoking, drinking, swearing, being a really sort of bad example as a Buddhist, this of course causes other people to doubt. We all make mistakes, this and that. I'm certainly no saint, but it's the idea. What happens is if you act that way, people think, oh, this guy, let's say Matthew's been Buddhist for years and years, and he's just the same as me. He's just a crappy person. He's selfish. He's always, swearing and drinking and acting like a total degenerate. Well, then Dharma doesn't work. If he's meditating every day and he's even worse than me, why should I be a Buddhist? It doesn't work. Like this is, so you're sort of in a lot of ways, a bit of an embodiment or spokesperson through your behavior for the Dharma. So we have to keep that in mind when as a vow. Doing a little bit to benefit others. So of course, not sharing or caring, not caring for people, just sort of doing your own thing. I'm Bodhisattva, but I'm not really interested in helping other people or making an effort to care for others, and you break the vow. Not believing Bodhisattvas ensure compassion assures that all their actions are pure. So if people are acting out of bodhicitta, even if they're doing something that might seem a little controversial, you don't understand, it's considered pure. This is, of course, difficult. How do we judge? This is sort of the Kantian issue of like people's motives are numinal in the sense that we don't know people's intention. All we know is their publicly observable behavior, but we don't know the context for that a lot of times. It's just our judgment of, oh, I think I see this person doing this, they must be the reason. But the idea, if this person is a bodhisattva in the community doing things and they're a good practitioner, even they're doing something a little funny, you can ask them about it, but it's considered, you have to have that kind of faith and feel that, well, they're doing this to benefit other people. So their actions are pure. Again, this is, we know nowadays there's always a lot of can be controversy around this, but technically it's about having a pure view rather than a cynical, judgmental mind. Acquiring wealth or fame through wrong livelihood. Of course, this is one of the eightfold paths of being a Buddhist. In the fourth noble truth of right paths, we have to have correct right livelihood. So having a bad motivation, and for the 8 worldly dharmas, wanting wealth or fame through doing bad things, we of course break this vow. Indulging frivolity, which is being wild and frivolous, or wasting time not being serious. And again, the exceptions, if you're struggling to stop and can't control yourself, but you're trying, of course, you don't break the vow. But anytime you're acting in a very sort of mindless way and getting carried away from yourself, this can flip into sort of negative behavior. And again, it's a bad example for other people. Claiming bodhisattvas need not abandon samsara. Well, the whole point of being a bodhisattva, just like being an arhat, is to abandon or let go of samsara. So if you're running around saying that you can just be a worldly person, you don't have to, just be sort of a modern, sort of cool Buddhist. We don't believe in karma. We don't believe in reincarnation. We don't really believe in samsara. Just be sort of okay, nice person. Don't try too hard. You don't have to leave samsara. Just be happy here and now in your own sort of worldly pleasures. Obviously, if you're sort of parroting that kind of a line, claiming that you don't have to get liberated or get enlightened, the very definition of a bodhisattva is someone trying to leave samsara to get enlightened. So obviously, if you're acting or talking the opposite of that, you're breaking a vow. Not avoiding bad reputation, which is not addressing rumors about yourself. So it says need to stop others because criticizing as a bodhisattva is bad karma. So this is the thing where a lot of ways, this is a little, not avoiding bad reputation. Like sometimes people just have negative views on you that are incorrect just because their own issues or their own karma. There's not a lot you can do. But at the same time, if there is a misunderstanding and it's affecting people in a negative way and people are becoming critical, being confused of you, the idea that you should sort of be accountable and sort of tie in work it out with other people. Like, it's just like, oh, we think Matthew, whatever, is stealing the statues from the temple. Someone had this crazy idea, and of course you're not. So first thing, of course, I was just like, well, whatever, just ignore it. But technically, it's like a law for us, and it's just like, no. And this is affecting people's minds. Or people are getting breaking their faith, or getting super cynical about it. And it's like, well, oh my God, this is really, really bad. You have to stop that, because it's also, you don't want people to be criticizing you or other people in the Sangha, or Bodhisattvas, or people, Buddhism in general. But you don't want people losing their faith and getting angry, especially when it's just like a misunderstanding like this. So you have to, in this case, sort of engage with that. Then not helping others avoid negativity. Well, when you can. I mean, this is hard. You don't want to be preachy or judgmental, or the big life coach or guru running around telling people not to avoid negativity. But it's the idea, if you have a chance to help people from hurting themselves and hurting other people, then you have to support that and sort of make a bit of a kind intervention to sort of be helpful in that way, and again, support people in their spiritual path. Okay, so vows 17 and 20 are against the perfection of patience. So this is retaliating to harm or abuse, not apologizing for the opportunity, not accepting others' apologies, not making effort to control or anger, gathering a circle of followers out of desire for profit or respect, not trying to overcome laziness, indulging in senseless conversation of attachment, neglecting the training mental stabilization, not overcoming obstacles to mental stabilization. Oh, wait a minute. I think I got this wrong here. It's actually 17. I don't know if I've written this. Okay, wait a minute. I think that might be 17 to 20 here. Or 20, I might have written this wrong here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so 7 down to 28, but so basically 17 and 20 here, so which is retaliating, harm, abuse, not apologizing when you have the opportunity, don't accept others' apology, making no effort to control anger. So of course, definition of patience is not retaliating, not getting angry, letting things go. So in other words, being patient, like if it's the big lineup in the line, everyone's taking at the bank, everyone's taking a long time, and I've got to get somewhere, I'm getting more and more and more mad. Not being patient, I start to act out, like, get out of the way, I can't believe it. And you start being angry, where it is letting that go, being patient. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be reactive. Here I am, just have to get this done in the lineup. I'm just going to let this go, and so forth. That would be the idea of applying patience, in applying effort that way. So 4 points of practice of virtue, for instance, is there's a little separate one of have practices. In other words, A, someone yells at you and you don't respond. B, someone angry at you and puts you down, you don't respond. C, someone hits you and you don't retaliate or hit them back. And D, someone points out your faults and you don't respond. In other words, you don't start saying, well, these are your faults, and so forth. So retaliating, harm, or abuse is that. It's just like being patient, letting go, and not responding to harm or violence with harm or violence. Not apologizing when you have the opportunity. You must apologize, clear the air, so things don't get worse. Again, this is the motivation of not accepting someone's apology would be pride, laziness, jealousy, hatred, and so forth. So we have to really make an effort. So in other words, yeah, so there's 2 ones here, which is not apologizing when they have the opportunity, not accepting others' apologies. So this is the idea of not, just like we talked about in the root downfall of Bodhisattva vows, someone's very sincere in apologize, you have to accept the apology and work it out. Not being having pride, laziness, jealousy, and so forth in not accepting the apology and sticking it to them. And then not apologizing when we have the opportunity. So when people are angry with you, or if you've hurt them and they're getting upset, we can't let that go on, because the other person's hurting themselves. And so we have to sort of apology, clear the air, explain, and don't let it get worse. Making no effort to control our anger, obviously, that's a huge vow that we have in practice patience. So vows 21 to 23 against the perfection of joy separate, which is gathering a circle, followers out of desire for proper respect, not trying to overcome laziness, and indulging in senseless conversation out of attachment. So if we're not trying to stop laziness and we're just becoming lethargic, how will we ever get enlightened? How will we ever escape samsara, for instance? gathering a circle for number 21, for instance, gathering a circle of followers out of desire for profit and respect. Of course, that is the 8 worldly dharmas. This is against our effort of becoming selfless as a bodhisattva. And then indulging senseless conversation attachment, number 23 there, which is just typical gossip, senseless talk, sex, politics, sort of crime, worldly things, Hollywood gossip, this and that. This, you can just waste so much time, become negative, and just sort of pollute your mind that of others by doing that. So again, this is just, there's great commentary I read about this from Thich Nhat Hanh, where he talks about how to just like Leo Tolstoy always said, always before you open your mouth, ask, will I hurt somebody? And 2, is it necessary to talk? The 2 things, like silent, what is it? Your talk has to be an improvement over the silence, right? So it's the same thing here. Like, we don't want to just start being sort of gossipy and just, again, wasting our time, as we know we can waste our time with just stupid talk with friends or colleagues for hours on end for nothing. And life is short. So vows 24 to 26 are against the perfection of concentration. So how will we see emptiness or vipassana without shamatha, without our concentrated mind that is not distracted in any way? And we need, as again, 3 higher trainings, moral discipline provides the basis for concentration, which is the basis for vipassana, pure seeing emptiness directly. So concentration, mindfulness allow us to be better at ethics, and ethics allow us to have a controlled mind and controlled person, know what to abandon and what to adopt, which improves our concentration. But these ones here, as we know, it's not overcoming obstacles to concentration, becoming preoccupied with the taste of concentration. Well, number 1, I should say, 24 is neglecting the training concentration. 25 is overcoming obstacles to concentration, and 26 being preoccupied with the taste of concentration. So not overcoming obstacles to concentration, 5 obstacles. 1, being wild, restless mind. 2, bad thoughts and sort of clashes, irritation, frustration, negativity. 3, attraction to sense objects, like attachment to food and sex and so forth. 4, foggy mindfulness, dull, drowsy mind, or sinking mind that you get when you study low rate. And number 5, being indecisive, not choosing the important things to do in concentration, not being able to prioritize how you're meditating, switching over all the time, getting sort of distracted and lost. So those are the main obstacles when you're trying to build concentration. So we have to train in these things, not training in these things, not making any effort whatsoever to meditate. How will we get enlightened, right? And again, the other ones is, of course, so it's neglecting training, mental stabilization, concentration, not overcoming the obstacles, and then becoming preoccupied. So at the higher states, when you're studying concentration, 9 levels of tranquil abiding, the moment you start meditating, you get the virtuous mental factor or secondary mind of physical suppleness, where your body, your chi, your prana starts to settle and become purified, and you become more and more blissful the more and more you meditate. So the whole point isn't to just sort of get dissolved into these jhana states where you're just blissed out. And then Trungpa Rinpoche always said, if you do that, you're just building the karma to take rebirth in a God state, a God realm, like especially the higher form or formless God realms, where you're just like pure energy, or you're just like empty space in this deep absorption meditation. We're in this sort of orgasmic meditation on bliss, like some deep jhana state where you're just like in total trance, blissed out, like an orgasm for millions of years or whatever. Well, if you're trying to be a bodhisattva, to get enlightened for the welfare of all sentient beings, to lead all sentient beings out of enlightenment, how are you going to do that if you're totally lost in these sort of deep, blissful states of concentration? You're not going to be bodhisattva. So these things, we use all that. Let's use all this concentration, not as an end in itself, but as a means to realize emptiness and escape samsara and help all beings escape as well. Okay, vows 27 to 34 here. So abandoning Hinayana, studying Hinayana detriment of Mahayana practice, studying non-dharma subjects of good reason, becoming gross and non-dharma subjects for their own sake, criticizing the Mahayana traditions, praising ourselves, scorning others, making no effort to study the Dharma, burn to rely on books rather than our teacher. These are against the perfection of wisdom, paramita of wisdom, in particular, leading to the wisdom realizing emptiness. So making effort in non-Buddhist teaching, like for instance, if we just go back to all of them here. So abandoning the Hinayana, we've talked about this before. You can never do that. Or 3 higher trainings, they are the foundation, the concrete foundation, the house of your Bodhisattva training. So you can't abandon that. Studying Hinayana to the detriment of a Mahayana practice. Of course, you're trying to be Bodhisattva Mahayana paths. If you don't study them, you don't practice them, and you just focus just on the Hinayana path or sort of small scope, just focusing entirely on the 3 higher trainings, then you won't be a Bodhisattva. Studying non-Dharma subjects without a good reason, and then becoming engrossed in them for their own sake. Obviously, your main effort in life, your main focus should be the Dharma, not other things. So making effort non-Buddhist teachings or other kinds of teachings. It says here, not enough time to squander and pass that don't work. Well, in this context, if we're trying to get enlightened, we have to make Dharma our main thing and not to get sidetracked with other stuff. You can get sucked into other things, like sometimes just worldly things. Like all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm making a Zen garden for my temple, and then just get into gardening and not meditate. Now I'm no longer a Bodhisattva, I'm just a gardener, just a regular garden guy, going to garden shows, trying to win awards for planting flowers or stuff. And it's just like, okay, what started as a nice offering to the Buddhas, now you're just like a worldly person. So it's important not to get sucked in. Criticizing other Mahayana traditions. We've talked about this before, being sectarian in any way, you break this vow. And this is giving up the Mahayana would be like saying the other stuff, the other Mahayana traditions or teachings or forth aren't correct or unimportant or irrelevant or wrong. They're not written well. The author of these aren't any good. They're not really good teachers. These aren't good lamas from these other Mahayana traditions, or this isn't beneficial, doesn't work. It's not, again, not relevant, not important, not helpful to people. If you go around doing this to other Mahayana traditions, I mean, any tradition, any spiritual tradition, any Hinayana tradition, but especially any Mahayana tradition, you break this vow. So don't be sectarian. I mean, having a long history, 30 years now in Tibetan Buddhism, I've seen a lot of sectarianism and dogmatism and fundamentalism and sort of really foolish attitudes on the behalf of other people, and it's very disheartening to see. And it's this kind of thing where people just think that their tradition's better than all the other traditions. And I always think that you meet these people, they don't even know their own tradition really well, but yet they're an expert not just on their tradition, but every other tradition. So they can run around and say, oh yeah, I don't like these guys, they're a bunch of clowns, a bunch of chumps, that doesn't work. It's like you don't even know your own tradition. How do you know other people's tradition, whether they work or not? Plus, it's just like polluting your mind, and everyone listening to you over dinner here is polluting all their minds. So it's a quick way to break all your vows, having that attitude. Let's see here. Again, just like the root downfall here, 32, which is praising yourself and scorning others. That is, in this case, it's not out of desire, but of anger, pride, or self-cherishing. So it's a bit of a minor vow, but again, just instead of desire to look good by putting others down, it's just in any way, just sort of anger, kind of having a bad day, being frustrated, being proud, criticizing other people and scorning other people. Then the final one is, which is interesting to say, it's against the morality of helping others, the final vows here. So in a lot of ways, just benefiting other beings. So that's the final vows, which are, well, actually, the last two I should talk about. I said there's like 33 is making no effort to study Dharma, 34 preferring to rely on books, our spiritual guide, and those two, which is, of course, making no effort to study the Dharma. How will we get enlightened if we never studied, never practiced there? And again, nowadays, everyone would rather prefer to rely on their own YouTube videos or even my videos, as if anybody's watching, but or Dharma books rather than have teachers. Well, the only way you get enlightened is having teachers who have gone to enlightenment show you the way. You can't do this by yourself. You need a map, and you need guides on the map to show you how to apply the directions of the map. So you won't get enlightened if you don't have a teacher. That's what every tradition says. It's true. It was true 2,500 years ago when Buddha was teaching. It's just as true now. I know it's very unfashionable nowadays. People think they can self-enlighten by just relying on themselves as a teacher, but technically Happy to debate anybody out there on this one, but technically it won't work. You won't get that far. So if you have that attitude, that breaks. It's a secondary downfall for vows. So the final vows here, which is not going to the assistance of those in need, not or neglecting to take care of the sick, not acting to dispel suffering, not helping others to overcome their bad habits, not returning help to those who benefit us, not relieving the stress of others, not giving those who seek charity, not taking special care of disciples, not acting in accordance with the inclinations of others, not praising the qualities of others, not doing wrathful actions when appropriate, not using miracle powers, threatening actions, and so forth. These are against the morality of helping others. So for instance, well, look, we can look at this pretty simple, like not going to the assistance of those in need when they're asking for help. You're like, nope, sorry, can't help you. Not taking care of the sick when they need help. Not acting to dispel suffering. So if someone's depressed or really angry or upset or really suffering, and they ask for help in that moment, please listen to me, please help me, please give me advice, please be with me, I'm anxious. No, can't do it. Bodhisattva has to care for other people and to be available. It's sort of a Levinasian, Benny Levinas, one of my favorite philosophers, it's sort of the call of the other, the face of the other, that's like, please help me. And in that ethical moment, you're being called to help. And if you don't respond in that moment, you sort of let it go and don't help, then you're breaking the spell. Not helping others overcome their bad habits when they ask, please help me out here, help me, overcome my addictions, help me sort of become a better person in this very concrete way. No, can't be bothered, then you break the vow. Not helping those who benefit us. So those who give us are really helping us, help back, return the favor, pay it forward. If you have great patrons or helpers helping this, help them back, care for them. If it wasn't for them helping you on your path, you wouldn't be going anywhere. Not relieving the distress of others. Again, people are sad, upset, again, anxious, traumatized. If you have a way to help and they're asking for help, you have to help them. Not seeking those, helping those who seek charity. You can see in a real direct way, please help me, need some money or whatever, help. You have to give something. Not taking special care of disciples. Those are our students that once you're a teacher and have students, you have to care for them, be like the mother duck with the little ducklings. You can't just kind of cut them loose when they're too much trouble, too much work, too much effort, too much time. If you're a Dharma teacher and people are sincerely and wholesomely with integrity becoming your students and trying hard, you're responsible for them like a parent. Not acting in ways of the course of inclinations of others. This is just in a way that's, not codependent, in a way that's good. If there's people want to do something, and again, it really helps them and it's not hurting you, hurting anyone else, then go along with it. It's just you're at work, oh, let's do it this way. You're not going to be sort of, a disruptor or reverser, as they call it, sort of traditional Tibetan terms, where you're just throwing a wrench in things and sort of becoming trouble for other people for no particular reason, just because you don't want to go along with them or you want to cause them trouble. Not praising the good. Also, I have that for 43 here, the one I just said, is failing to get along with others because you're lazy or angry. So not reaching out to someone you don't get. So if you're just not going along with contention, you're just becoming trouble, you're not getting along with people in your family or at work, you break that vow if you don't try and ameliorate that, if you don't try and work on that, if you don't try and change that, you just let it slip. You're not going to relations, you're not getting along, it's not working with other people, and you leave it that way. You break that vow. Not praising the good qualities of others. Really, really, if people have good virtues, support it and rejoice in it and really see it as an offering to the universe and really praise the good qualities of others. And 45, you're not doing wrathful actions appropriate. I have here is failing to cut someone off when necessary, to chastise, punish, expel when necessary. This is a wrathful action. This is sort of tough love, so it's not idiot compassion. Sometimes you have to be hard on people in order. It's kind of discipline, just like disciplining children, very kind of unpopular nowadays. But so people, if they're hurting themselves or hurting others, you have to sometimes be really sort of direct, honest, and direct and wrathful, that you stop them from hurting themselves and hurting others and help them go sort of on a different path. So it's the same thing, not using miracle powers, threatening actions, and so forth. If you have CDs or magic powers and there is a real call to use them, you have to use them in that case. It's kind of, you have to have those powers, but in the sense it's just almost like a raffle action or whatever. If you have a chance to use these to benefit people and there's kind of a need people are asking and you don't do that, just again, because you're lazy or selfish or proud or whatever, then you break that vow. Okay, so then there's a couple branch vows or just sort of additional vows that we have what they call as offenses versus bodhicitta. There's sort of additional vows they tack onto here. So what would these be here? There's 7 of them. Okay, so what are these additional vows here? Which is 1, failing to support those who deserve it or who need it. 2, failing to let go of anger when someone hurts you. So stewing on it, going over it, getting the soap opera in your head. 3, discriminating between people or dividing people or playing people up against each other, othering people, whatever. 4, failing to take yourself to a spiritual teacher when you need help, when you need guidance, when you need correction, not having a teacher, not being in a relationship, not going, not doing that, not learning, basically, sort of really investing in not learning or not growing. 5, failing to learn and contemplate the Dharma. So obviously, always growing, always moving along the spiritual path, always learning, always changing, always self-overcoming, always growing. 6, failing to think of others as you use objects. So in other words, don't be a karmic consumer. This is where you always meditate on the interconnection of all things. Everything you have, as we study in Lojong or in Tonglen trainings, everything you have is due to the kindness of other people. It's interconnected. It's the whole sort of sentient universe that allow you to operate as who you are. Everything around you that you're using, whether it's my mala here or my little scribbler or whatever, everything's been produced. I didn't make this, other people did. Everything's been given to you in the kindness of other people's work, effort, and so forth. So think of that. Don't just think that you're this sort of psychotic attitude where it's just you and your ego, I'm creating the world, yeah, there's no others, this and that. It's actually others in a Hegelian way, in the recognition way of Hegel's logic. It's precisely others, our whole interconnected universe that are allowing you, through their kindness, are allowing you to be you. So remember that. Anytime you use anything or consume everything, this is why we offer back. Dedicate it maybe for the benefit of all sentient beings. Offer this as a beautiful offering to all holy beings, is remembering this. So failing this and just being completely selfish and kind of narcissistic, you break this vow. And number 7, failing to think that the good deeds you're doing are to benefit all sentient beings as you do. In other words, really try and do everything with bodhicitta. Everything that you do, may it be for the welfare of all sentient beings, may it be for the enlightenment of all sentient beings, the liberation of all sentient beings, the true happiness of all sentient beings. Everything that you do, I am doing this right now, showering, eating, going to work, traveling on transit, shopping at the grocery store. Everything I'm doing, may it be for the benefit, the liberation, enlightenment of all sentient beings. Now, finally, the other one they have is the 4 black deeds and the 4 white deeds, which is, again, just sort of extra little vows that you take. So what are the 4 black deeds and their corresponding purification or medicine to avert them? The 4 white deeds. 1, knowingly deceiving your Lama or teacher, obviously a very bad thing, which is then the white, that's the first black deed. White deed is never speak a lie to your teachers or really anyone else, even in jest. So really make an effort not to lie, mislead, or like have integrity that way, to not be something you're not, or not lie directly, especially to your teacher. 2, to get anyone to regret a virtue. Obviously, anyone who's done something good, rejoice in it, encourage it. Don't make them feel that they made a mistake being a good person. And the white deed is to try and get others to practice the Bodhisattva ideal. So to not just encourage other people to do good things, but do good things to benefit all sentient beings, ultimately to awaken all sentient beings. Number 3, black deed, saying something unpleasant to a Bodhisattva out of anger. Okay. And I have in parentheses, like Geshe Roja would say, which could be anybody who's a Bodhisattva, we don't know. So technically, you shouldn't be being mean, malicious, or saying mean things to people out of anger at any time, because you don't know if that's a Buddha or a Bodhisattva or some saint. some guy you sort of flip off at Starbucks, or getting mad in traffic, or at the store, at the bank, or whatever. Oh, you're thinking only good things. You say something mean to them. How do you know that that's not some bodhisattva that's just going about their day benefiting others? And again, what happens karmically which is why you should always be kind. So in other words, the white deed here is peer review, Daknang Jorna in Tibet, which is always have peer review towards all beings. And it's the idea that if you are mean or treat people bad or abuse them or transgress against them, be violent or whatever, if it's a Buddha or a higher Arya being or Bodhisattva, it's like you're pushing that person away from you karmically. So rather, you want all these holy beings to be in your life, functioning as teachers in your life, blessing you, teaching you, and guiding you. You don't know who they are. Don't take the chance. If all these angels are really trying to have a connection with you, you're pushing them away by being mean to them. And again, they're anonymous for the most part. So rather have peer review, see everybody as your teacher, everybody is a Buddha, everyone as teaching you, guiding you, giving you an opportunity to better yourself on the path. And number 4, which is to be devious, dishonest, deceitful with bad motivation. Obviously don't do that. I mean, needless to say, that's what kind of bodhisattva or dharma person in general would be that way. So rather, the white deed would be to be honest, straightforward with all means, to live a life of integrity and honesty as best that you can. So there you go. That's quite a handful there of all those different secondary downfalls and the extra sort of branch bodhisattva deeds and black and white deeds there. So you see that really when you look at it, combine all these vows together, this is where, I always say it's where the rubber hits the road. This is where the main work you have as a bodhisattva is just in doing this kind of stuff. Making the ethical path, this whole sort of collection of all different practices, your main practice for life. And one of Geshe Michael Roach's students, student teachers, or Annie Palma, she said that this is your vows and commitments is the highest tantric practice. I always remember telling us, a bunch of us at Zerling Temple in the early, I guess maybe about 20 years ago when they came out of that 3-year retreat. And it's the idea that if maintaining your vows, in other words, practicing virtue, refraining from negativity. Virtue, of course, all these good actions produce good, happy effects for yourself and others. In other words, pure effects. So the more you do, the purer the world gets. Then it's easier to maintain pure view, and the world becomes more of a pure thing to view. So in other words, it becomes transformed alchemically through you working out your own issues with your own vows and your moral discipline and all your kleshas and delusions. This becomes the principle of Tantra as transformation. So just from our very lowly Pratimoksha liberation vows, we can have in the end a pure world, a Buddha world, that we live in a heaven here on earth for ourselves and all sentient beings. So with that, let's just sort of dedicate this and to the enlightenment of all sentient beings. And may all our little study and practice here for our vows course and ethics course be a cause for us to make our ethics and vows our most important practice, our daily practice, and become better, better and better them, that we have pure, perfect morality of the Buddha. So the blessings of all holy beings, the truth of karma, our causes and their effects, our pure spirit intention, bodhicitta, wishes be fulfilled. May all sentient beings reach holy. Okay, thank you, and see you next time.